Lisa, my 45-year-old female daughter Mallory, who's been married for 3 years, has 2 children, a toddler and a first grader. Recently, her husband revealed that he's been cheating on her and is leaving her for another woman. They rent a house, but since Mallory had no credit at the time of moving in, only her husband's name is on the lease. He's given her 30 days to move out. Mallory is understandably distraught. I've been doing all I can to comfort her. Finally, she asked if she could move in with me, explaining that she would have the kids every other week. She assured me that she wasn't looking for childcare, as both kids are in daycare. She offered to pay rent and chip in on groceries. I've always raised my kids to be independent. I didn't kick them out at 18, but I encouraged them to start doing things independently. As a result, Mallory moved out at 19, moving in with her soon-to-be ex. My sons are in college and plan to move out after graduating from college. They are both freshmen at the same university. I asked Mallory about her credit score, and she said she could reasonably rent. I offered to pay the first month's rent, the last month's rent, and a deposit along with 6 months' rent. She said it's not about the money. She's not wealthy by any means, but she does well for herself, and her husband already agrees to give her money weekly even before they go to court. She just wants emotional support. I told her I could do that with her living in her place. She started to cry and said she just needed her mom right now. I told her she was going to be okay. My sons are angry with me. They pointed out that I have plenty of room, and Mallory has offered to pay rent. She's also not the type to shrug off the kid's responsibility, and the toddler is well behaved. However, to me, that doesn't matter. They called me heartless. Am I the idiot? But if she wasn't being gently but consistently pushed out of the nest, maybe the daughter wouldn't have needed to shack up with a loser. You had kids. It's an obligation for life. Hopefully, she takes her commitment to her children's mental well-being more seriously than her mother. I too found it odd. She called out that she encouraged her daughter to move out, where she found her now ex. But the 2 boys get to stay through college. I've seen friends and family look past a few red flags to stay with someone who could provide things they were missing. In this instance, a place to stay. And it sounds like the censor from her son is the only reason she's addressing this issue at all. Everyone has favorites, but you see this pattern too often. To me, this sounded less like encouraged to move out as a woman and more like encouraged to leave and get married. I don't want her neighbors and friends to see that her daughter's marriage failed and she's living back home again. Notice how the poor girl married that jerk at the same age Op had her. Like, you sacrificed your youth having kids too soon. Said to action, and your solution to that is to push your kids to commit the same mistake, so you get the house to yourself sooner. Whoa, Mother of the Year material right here. You are the idiot without a doubt. If you weren't so hung up on pushing her to be independent, she wouldn't be married and divorced with 2 kids by the age of 24. It might be time to rethink your priorities. Just my 22-year-old female boyfriend, who's 26, and I've been dating for about 2 years. Up until recently, we both lived at home. I was fortunate enough to buy my first place recently with the help of my parents. Dom's a realtor. I will move into my place at the end of the month. My boyfriend and I talked, and he brought up the idea of letting him move into my place with us living together. He said that he'd obviously pitch in with bills and everything. Though, I was hesitant about this for a few reasons. Whenever he comes to my family's house now, it's like picking up after a child. He's constantly leaving dirty dishes on the counter, food wrappers wherever, water bottles wherever, etc. I'm continually having to remind him, "Hey, can you please throw that out? Hey, can you please put your dish in the sink?" But nothing ever seems to stick. He's never lived alone before and had to fend for himself, like not even when he went to college. He's always lived at home. For example, in my current situation, yes, I live with my family, but I live in the basement. I fend for myself as I buy my own groceries, cook my own meals, etc. Sure, he knows how to cook, but he never buys his own groceries and stuff, and mainly just eats what his mom makes or whatever's in the house. Since we first got together 2 years ago, he has always complained about how he hates his job. He always calls in sick because he hates it and doesn't feel like going. Yet, he has not tried to find something new that he does enjoy doing. This makes me nervous because I don't want someone fending off me. I really enjoy and value my alone time, hence why I decided to stay home and save, as opposed to moving out somewhere with roommates. When I explained my reasonings to my boyfriend, he immediately became defensive. I'm sure some of my reasonings were a hit to his ego, but it's the truth. And these things need to be addressed before we rush into moving in together. So he cut the conversation short and just started saying, "Forget it, just drop the conversation. I just won't move in with you." He has been dry and bitter to me ever since and sulking around. I feel like kind of an idiot, but at the same time, I'm not just going to let these issues go like he clearly wants me to. Though bad because I know he wants to escape his crowded living situation, but I stand by what I said. Am I the idiot for not letting him move in with me?
Because your boyfriend wants to move in with you so you will become his new mommy, but even better because he gets to have intimacy with you.
That's the deal. But you know what will come, and you said no to him moving in because you're smart. Do you really see a future with this guy? Read your own story as somebody else wrote it. Seriously, I came here to say all of this. Not only does he want you to take care of him, but he's throwing a tantrum because you saw through him. And he's trying now to make you feel exactly how you feel, like it's your fault. Or you know you aren't the problem here. He is. Don't let him try to convince you that he'll be any different from what your gut is telling you. You are not the idiot, one bit. You telling him your concerns and sticking to your guns will save you so much freaking grief. That you're incompatible. He's 26. He's not going to change. He's looking for another mommy. Rethink this relationship. The two of you are in entirely different places in your life. He's still acting like a teenager, and you're moving on to the adult world. It is beyond rude to go into somebody's home and behave the way he has. You'd be picking up after him 24/7. You know, if he lived with you, he would be worse. He wouldn't work, so you'd be paying the bills. And he's already shown that you can't discuss problems with him because he pouts. Girl, trust me, you'll be his new mom. I'm a 27-year-old female, a young professional working a high-paying job in the tech field. I live with my boyfriend, who's a 25-year-old plumber. In terms of personality, we mesh surprisingly well, so his educational background and career never mattered to me. Anyway, I regularly attend events hosted in the industry and went to one last week. This one was a semi-formal networking evening, and I brought my boyfriend along. He was nervous about going, but I assured him that he had nothing to worry about. Fast forward to the event, we split up as I wanted to do my own thing and give him some breathing room too. At one point, I started chatting with a girl, and we were talking about our experience at the event so far. She said she enjoyed it but asked me if I had come across this intimidating-looking guy too. She laughed that he must have gotten lost, and I immediately knew she was talking about my boyfriend. I cleared it up for her, and she apologized profusely, but it was still awkward. I told my boyfriend about this, and he got upset, even though I told him that it's not his fault at all, but he should lighten up a bit. Well, afterward, I spoke with a guy who used to work at a startup with a friend of mine. He took us up to the 3rd floor and introduced us to a bunch of people. I told them a bit about myself, and eventually, someone asked my boyfriend what he did. He told them about his job, and there was an uncomfortable silence. I joked that he's a simple man, which is why I'm with him. After that, there was laughter and the situation seemed less tense. Well, when we left the event, we had a big argument. He said that it was insulting of me to describe him as simple, and that I was clearly embarrassed to be associated with him at all. He said that I had straight up mocked him in front of everyone to make myself feel better. I told him that he was way overreacting, and that I didn't mean simple in a derogatory way. Am I the idiot for using that word to describe him, or is he overreacting? You are the idiot. The breakup coming in 6 months or less. We blue-collar workers make your delusional white-collar world function. The next time your toilet won't flush, fix it yourself. The next time your hot water doesn't work, fix it yourself. The next time the sewage flow comes up through your bathtub sink or toilet, fix it yourself. I hope he leaves you quickly, and he will. Blue-collar men make an easy $80,000 plus a year. As for me, I have to stop working when I hit $150,000 a year. You knew it, an electrician also. You made fun of him and called him stupid in a room full of people he didn't know. I don't know how you think you weren't a major idiot in this situation. Your first paragraph is disgusting. You're full of yourself and think your boyfriend is lucky just to be graced by your presence. Jesus, get off your high horse. A plumber is not a simple man. Definitely a more useful skill than whatever startups your snobbish colleagues are involved in. You already noticed other guests were treating him like he didn't belong. Why would you allow them to make your boyfriend feel lesser and then join in on the ridicule? I would have dumped you if I were in your boyfriend's shoes. My sister, 27, is our family's classic golden child. She was the first girl, and my mom always wanted a daughter. And my older brother, 29, was a disappointment to my mom. And when I, 24, female, the second girl came along, Mom already had her perfect daughter. So she never had much time for me. Our dad was one of those dads who worked all the time and left all the child raising to Mom and was not much of a family man. My brother and I are close. And our sister likes to use us, but she only ever wants us for what she wants and has never been a good sister to us. A few times she was upset to be left out of something, and if we ever felt bad, it soon faded because she would try to make the rules for everything. She didn't change as an adult. We barely pass time with her, but she's tried to make us a huge part of her life. But being part of her life isn't rewarding, so I keep my distance, and so does my brother. She got engaged a few months ago. She asked me to be her bridesmaid, and in the same breath told me I would need to change my hair. I have my hair dyed. Says I need to get used to wearing heels. I never liked them, never wore them, cannot walk in them, and she told me I'd need to join her for 5 a.m. yoga wedding planning every Tuesday and Thursday. Oh, and I would need to take 2 weeks off work around the wedding to prepare and get everything set up. I turned down the bridesmaid invite. When she tried to get her wedding date finalized, she asked my brother and me when we would be free. And she told us to take into account that we would need to rent fancy cars or a joint car to drive to the place. She had a list of cars she found acceptable because she wants all her guests to arrive in style. She also told us we would need at least $4,000 saved to afford everything she was planning. She also wanted to do a family gathering the night before the wedding at the venue, and that would require paying money to take part. And this place is expensive, even on a crappy day. My brother told her any date would work, and not to worry, but he was being sarcastic. I told her not to plan her wedding around me because I could never afford that stuff, so it would be best if I didn't go. My sister didn't take me seriously, but when I RSVP'd no to her wedding, she called and asked why I was judging her wedding and why I won't go. I told her she could do what she wanted, but I didn't need to attend, and I wasn't gonna run myself into the ground to follow the rules of her wedding. She told me I'm her sister, and I should attend her wedding. Excuse me? Who needs $4,000 to be a guest at a wedding? Oh wow. Is anyone going? She should be happy with her guests just showing up. That's showing up with her requirements. I'm sure it'll be a very small wedding. You are not the idiot. I hope the groom turns up at least. Your sister sounds exhausting. You and your brother need to stand your ground and stay far away, in my honest opinion. No way is anyone expected to shell out $4,000 on nice clothes, beauty treatments, rented vehicles, and the like, just to attend a wedding. Even if they're not being singled out for such expenses, it's time people got over the idea of pretending to be royalty for one special day. 5 a.m. yoga wedding planning every Tuesday and Thursday. Dear God, what the heck is wrong with your sister? Is this the new kind of narcissistic personality? Plus, this sounds like less fun than a month of root canals. I'm glad you dodged the bridesmaid bullet. OP, and also the $4,000 pony up for the present grab at the wedding. I wish Bridezilla luck, because at some point the world will tune her up, big time. I'm 28, female, recently in a good place in my life for the first time. I'm financially stable, have a great career, fit, and have various passions. So I decided to start dating seriously. I even started using a dating app for the first time, which I often forget to use. I was hanging out with a couple of friends at the beach the other day, and started using the app. I swiped left on just about all of the guys, with an occasional match here and there. Well, it turns out my guy friend had been closely watching this whole time. He got up and started having a crisis. He asked me if I was seriously judging the guys on the pictures before anything else, and I said, heck yeah. He said that I rejected 99.99 of the guys who seemed perfectly fine, and that it was unreasonable. I was confused by his sudden outburst and told him that he was crazy. He said that he's not crazy and that it's crazy of me to dismiss his views just like that. I didn't even know what to say, but told him he was creeping me out a lot. Well, as soon as he heard the word creepy, he accused me of using slurs against him and making him look bad. Then he legit said I called him the equivalent of another slur, which I won't mention. So am I an idiot here, or is my friend overreacting? He was looking over your shoulder, watching you on your phone. In a way, that's like watching someone write in their diary. Phones are very personal and have become an extension of ourselves. That's like reading your thoughts. Also, maybe he has a hard time dating. I won't go so far as to say he's jealous and he wants you, but it's a possibility. Swiped left on and was hurt that maybe this is what's happening to him. He has a girlfriend. He might be insecure about his looks, but he's conventionally attractive. I'm just not into him because he's not my type. Edit. I just found out that he allegedly dumped his girlfriend. I mean, he could be happily dating someone new, but it still feels like he's got some resentment against women being free to choose and have standards too. When I was single, this acquaintance constantly talked smack about me because he thought I was too picky. Actually, people in our peer group froze him out because A, he was already married, so why care? And B, when I began going out with my partner, he then began saying that of course he has to be a hot doctor or some bizarre version of why isn't fine for you. Your friend sounds like a lunatic and seems like he's projecting. Puppies is not a slur, and I cannot even fathom what he thinks it's similar to. You have the right to judge who you're attracted to based solely on looks. A lot of people do it without being judged for it, so why should you? Well, sort of an update. He told me that girls always find him attractive and asked why I don't find him physically attractive. I explained that I recognized that he was an attractive dude. I just wasn't physically attracted to him. He said that it doesn't make sense. Aztec Joao. Then he started showing me pics of all the pretty girls he recently hooked up with.